But let's get to the 53-man roster talk. And I put out a clip from a video on Twitter earlier this week where I was saying people get so caught up in this initial 53-man roster and they act like it's life or death. Like they act like if Juwan Winfrey doesn't make this roster, then his opportunity is completely lost, or that it's set in stone that Juwan Winfrey will never get a chance over Malik Taylor. And people often forget, especially, only at this time of the year, that there is so much roster movement, players in flux throughout the year, especially those bottom of the roster guys. If Cole Van Lannon makes the roster, he's still going to have to fight hard in practice any opportunity he gets to keep that spot on the roster. So that's some important reminder. Some people took it as that I felt I had come up with this crazy idea that I was the only one in the world that knew how the practice squad worked, which was not the point I was trying to get across, but more just the fact, don't get so caught up, so obsessed with this 53-man roster construction. Yep. All right, let's get to it, though. We got a few players that we want to hit on for the Packers make their cutdowns this 31st. So let's start off going position by position with the quarterbacks. The only one to really talk about here, obviously, Rodgers. I was pretty surprised with how well Rodgers did this camp, but I think he did well enough to get himself a roster spot. Jordan Love, obviously, making the roster. And then you have Kurt Benkert. I really want Kurt Benkert to earn himself a spot. Unfortunately, though, I have a bad feeling that the Kurt Benkert era is coming to an end in Green Bay.
It has come to an end.
I think deep down in my stomach, I know that. I don't want it to, but I know there's no way they keep him. I know there's no way they're able to sneak him onto the practice squad. So even if, it's not just what he adds with his talent, but he's just such a character guy, such a great Twitch streamer. So we'll miss him here in Green Bay. Obviously, I wish him the best. I hope he gets to go to a team, Washington, maybe some other teams that are looking for a good backup, and he can eventually work his way up to a starting quarterback. And then we'll trade a first rounder for him next year so he can be the backup to Jordan Love. It will just be a direct trade for Kurt Benkert, Aaron Rodgers. Switch him over. Let's move on to the offensive line. Lucas Patrick. I think it's a really interesting one. The Packers have plenty of depth pieces. They've been trying to get a lot of faces into the offensive guard position. Cole Van Lannon, Royce Newman, Tim Braden. It looks like they're trying to get a cheaper, younger replacement for Lucas Patrick at offensive line. Big B, do you think Lucas Patrick makes this roster?
Yes, I do. I think Lucas Patrick makes it just because of his versatility, that he can play literally anywhere. And of course, center, because we have literally nobody behind Josh Myers.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big piece in him making the roster this year.
Yeah, I want to say, Cole Van Lannon and those other guys are cheaper, but Lucas Patrick is obviously better.
Yep.
While that cost, age comes into factor, Lucas Patrick is better. He's not TJ Lang, but he's not Byron Bell, that's so I'll certainly be looking interested to see what they end up doing with Lucas Patrick. Wide receiver 6, I think we collectively agree on, not just us, but everybody on Twitter, everybody that pays attention agrees that Malik Taylor will be wide receiver number 6. Dominique Daphne at tight end, there's obviously an interesting situation with Jay Sternberger being suspended for the first 2 weeks, not counting as a spot on the 53-man roster. I just cannot see the Packers only having 3 tight ends for those first 2 weeks. And I think Dominique Daphne does a lot of stuff better than Jace. Really good blocker. So Jace Sternberger might be suspended, and then the Packers might say, well, sorry.
So are you saying that the Packers are going to keep Bronson Confusi or whatever you say his name is?
No. No.
You're not saying that. No.
No, I'm
you're
saying
saying
Dominic Daphne is replacing Jace. Yeah.
No, but you said that I don't see him keeping just 3 during.
Yeah, I'm saying. Well,
so,
Josiah.
you gotta explain yourself.
Josiah counts as the tight end.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Yeah, Bronson Fusi, Daniel Crawford. Crawford is released, but yeah, no, it's Dom Daphne, not Kafusi. All right, moving on to the defensive side of the ball. Outside linebacker 4 and 5. Obviously, they're going to keep somebody outside of Preston, Zedarius, and Rashawn. Last year, that was Jonathan Garvin. He wasn't active for a single game, I believe, besides very few when either Preston, Zedarius had injuries sporadically throughout the year. I'm a big Jonathan Garvin fan. I think he makes the roster. He's, I think the most evident thing you can take is, he was lining up with the ones when Zedarius was inactive, not at practice. So he's the outside linebacker number 3. So I think they like him. Also, a guy who has had a really good preseason is Delonte Scott. Also, Chauncey Rivers. Is Delonte Scott a defensive end?
I don't know. At this point, I just don't know.
That's a good question. I know with Chauncey Rivers, though, that had a pretty good game against the Bills yesterday. I would not be surprised to see them keep him as well. But really just numbers game, see how things shake out. Finally, Equanimeous St. Brown talked a lot about wide receiver. He's been injured all of this past year, or injured pretty much all of this offseason, injured all of 2019. He really hasn't had too many chances to work in Matt LaFleur's offense. And when he's had, it's shaky. I think this has to be the interim.
We had that one touchdown versus the Titans.
Oh, yes, he did. Yes, he did.
That's literally the only thing I can remember from his career is that one.
The only thing you can't remember, a 2-point conversion.
2-point conversion.
That he dropped at Lambeau Field in January.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that now.
That they shouldn't have gone for 2 on that play anyways, but we don't need to uncover pass wounds, though. All right. Yes. I feel like that happens every single Packers chat, though. Somehow the NFC Championship game failures come up.
Yeah, why'd you bring that up? Come on.
Hey, man, we're talking about EQ and how he hasn't done much.
I really at least hope that 49ers game on Monday night a couple years ago. A couple nice grabs on the sideline.
Yeah. He had his rookie year, he looked better than EQ. Jamon Moore looked better than EQ and MVS, but 2018 wide receiver draft class, man.
Lord.
What an episode. What an episode. This is really I don't know what's going on. What an episode. EQ though. Gotta love him.